Well. Seems we got some news. How's everyone doing? I don't know if I wanna log in today, but I did wanna read the update. I quickly read it earlier, but I didn't really get too much into it. And I saw some of the stuff that people were writing. Hopefully it's not as bad as it sounds, but we'll find out. So this is the news we've been waiting for since the layoffs. But from Nick is the new studio lead, I think. Upcoming adjustments. When we announced seasons in January, we promised you a new era of transparency. That's funny, they had a complete radio silence for like how many weeks now. Kinda understandable with the layoffs, but it took a while for this letter to come out. Part of the promise is being open with you as our studio evolves. Recently we've been through a number of organizational changes, that's one way to put it. So I'm gonna post the music here. And departures of teammates who helped shape Elder Scrolls Online. We are profoundly grateful for everything they've contributed to the game and the community we've built together. At the same time, we've seen a lot of questions about what these changes mean for ESO, so let me be clear. ESO is here to stay. And our team is dedicated to the future of this game. Our focus hasn't changed. It is continuing to grow Elder Scrolls Online and build upon the world millions of players call home. Okay, this kind of like PR speak though. Like they always say that. Do they mean it though? Hey Testot, how you doing? Watermain already uninstalled. Get back in 2027. Won't sure if they release Warden. Understandable. What's up, Exweb? How are you doing? Moving forward, I'll be leading the studio alongside long-time SOS veteran Josh Henderson. What was his role previously? Head of Business Operations at Cinemax Online Studios. Okay. Don't think they should focus on their stuff over Warden refresh. Yeah, same. It's crazy if they don't. I mean, they like did read this quickly earlier and see that apparently next refresh is 2027. So, I believe some people said we wouldn't get Warden. Yeah, those people were right. What's up, Gerent? What's your stream, Stacy? Thanks. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit dry over the next 6 months, I think, if we have the same meta and same builds. Moving forward, I'll read that. Love this world, we love this community, and the fire in our team to continue building it burns as just as fiercely today as it always has. Does it though? Does it? Also entering a new chapter of collaboration across Bethesda. By working more closely with Bethesda Game Studios across the Elder Scrolls, we have new opportunities to share ideas, align our efforts, and create even better experiences for players, all while continuing to build the future of ESO. Okay, I wonder what that means though. I wonder how that's gonna affect things. Isn't the marketing team? I see. We can Werewolf, maybe 6-7 Sorks, nothing else for next 6 months. Yeah, I'm not too hyped about that. And for PoE 1 and 2, need to find some other games to play if you have the same meta and no builds to make. So I'm almost done with the Templar build. So the video's almost ready. I was supposed to finish the video today and stream maybe tomorrow, but we had this news today, so kind of figured I'd go over them. But yeah, after Templar we have Arcanist, and Arcanist, I guess we make a Warden build now. It's gonna be a while before that has to be changed. And Nightblade. There's only 3 classes left. And then you're just playing the same builds over and over again. Evolving our plans. Said this before, a core part of our philosophy is ensuring that the time you invest in ESO always feels rewarding. And with the recent changes to our studio, trying to hit our previously announced deadlines would mean sacrificing the quality you deserve. Therefore, we are establishing a clear principle on for how we build and ship content and features moving forward. Quality experiences over calendar dates. This part is what we call bullshit. It's bullshit. It's not about the quality. It's about not having the developers to actually make the content fast enough anymore. Like this whole oh, we're doing this for you guys. Like, this is actually a good thing. This is just what do you call it? And besides bullshit, it's marketing basically. But I understand why he's writing that, to kind of hype people up and try to maintain a positive atmosphere. But it is bullshit. Hey Sidewaves, how you doing? And Foxy, hello. ESO back in 2027. Yeah. Instead of rushing to hit a previously announced deadline, we're giving our teams the runway they need to do things right. Some of our upcoming additions, like the class and combat refresh and our new trial, are highly complex. We want to ensure they hit the mark before we put them in your hands. Okay, so they're highly complex, but they were supposed to release on PTS. Back when they still had developers. Make it make sense. Reworks aren't going to be done before 2029, realistically. That's very optimistic. At the current rate, it's 1 class per year. If we got DK this year, Warden next year, Sork after that, then Nightblade, Templar, Arcanist, and so on, like it's going to be 5 years. So like 2031. Because of this, we have had to make the decision to move the following features into 2027. The new trial, Crimson Wealth. We're pushing boundaries with this trial, including mounted combat that we think you'll love, and we simply need more time to ensure the experience exceeds your expectations. The only acceptable reason to delay this is to introduce the trial with actual mounted combat outside of the trial. Still, like, have time to introduce mounted combat elsewhere as well. Then I would understand this, but otherwise, like, this was supposed to go live next patch. But I guess they fired Mike and everyone else working on it, so they need to find new people to work on it, or train some interns to create dungeons and boss fights and stuff. I don't know. But if you're getting mounted combat outside of the trial as well, then acceptable at that point. Wasn't supposed to be mostly done as well. Yeah, but they probably, because they've fired pretty much everyone working on it, they probably don't have like the people to finish the animations or something. Like maybe all the animators got fired, for example. 2032, since Dick and Warden will be 10 months apart at least. I'll get that in a moment. It's maybe even worse than that. I feel like the content is ready, but they're gonna delay them for the future. They don't have anything ready for 2027. You might be right about that. Might be true. I hope it doesn't mean that they are like kind of ramping things down. I mean, they are, but I hope it doesn't mean that we are not gonna have a game in 2028 by their current estimations. If they delay things of this year until next year, then what about next year's things? Like it's a bit worrisome. They also did Werewolf. Yeah. I mean, okay, 1.5 classes per year. But then there's also Vamp. If we also had that. And that was with the current team, right? Because the current team could actually... I do believe we would have gotten Warden without the Microsoft layoffs. Would have had Warden in the next BTS, but... Keep in mind the next... like the current... The BTS that's on next Monday was supposed to be on the 7th of this month. It got delayed twice. So they're way behind schedule with everything. You state that the next class refresh happens in early 2027. Exactly. Ei Kumi, how you doing? Didum, hello. Anything promising? Not exactly. They're kind of just delaying everything. Update 52 will move to January of 2027. We expect this to include the launch of the Jarl Pass PvP zone. I mean, that's good that they're prioritizing the PvP zone. I didn't expect that. I thought they would have scrapped the PvP zone or moved it to like 2030 or something. But apparently it's kind of far in development. But I hope that they don't release it in a very half-baked state. Dilma, thank you for the sub. Thank you. Place here. Oof. I was thinking of maybe playing Mistfall, but I don't know if it's a good stream game for me. Potato, thank you for the follow. Mistfall out, yeah, so it has a lot of people watching it on Twitch at the moment. Wolf before all the other classes is insanely foolish, to be honest. It would have been fine if they kept with the schedule. It was like DK, Werewolf, Warden, Sork this year, and then like Vampire and Templar Nightblade, a Necro Arcanist next year. But that's not gonna happen. So yeah, PP zone in January. More dynamic encounters, cool. For the class and combat refresh, we are targeting 2027 for the next refresh, so that's the Warden one, right? Unless they skip Warden and do something else instead. However, we are discussing some interim options for the classes, still awaiting their full refresh to improve your player experience in the meantime. I worry that this is going to be another class mastery fiasco. We're like, oh, well, let's buff this and that, and oh, Nightblade still dog shit. Okay, well, wait for the next update, or DK's even more like OP now after this. I don't think this is what. I don't think this is gonna do it. Was this graphics look better after today's news? I mean, it's a great game. It's not very good. It's not a very good game for me from a streaming point of view as well. It's kind of the same story with every game besides CS, so unfortunately. People don't care about Werewolf at all. Because it was really bad previously. That's probably also one reason why. I think it's kind of fun at the moment, but... Or fun to play, and it's not super fun to play against. Minus the max health scaling. Max health scaling is just dumb. Should remove that. Gonna get 1% damage increase on not rework classes end of the year. Yeah, it's just something like kind of irrelevant. Like look at the I don't have faith on them making good changes for some classes until there's like a complete rework of the base toolkit. Like you're not gonna make jabs feel like a whip. No matter what you do with class masteries or like anything else. You're not gonna make Invis Cloak on Nightblade feel fun to use until you completely rework it. You're not gonna make Necro Corpse Consumption feel impactful outside of like Corpse Burster procs until you completely rework it. you're not gonna have Arca Beam be usable in PvP outside of like one bomb build until you completely rework the or buff the radius of it, but that would be big changes, and that's not what we're gonna get, so it's most likely gonna be class mastery changes. And they don't understand Nightblade at all, or it's gonna be focused on PvE, not PvP. Just like everything else, right? Because the Nightblade ones, they completely missed the mark. Hey Delboy, how you doing? Missed something big so far? They kinda delayed everything to 2027. But on the bright side, we get the PvP zone in January 2027. Unless there's more layoffs and they have to delay it. But yeah, Warden refresh or rework, new trial, everything is moved to next year. We know it's disappointing to see some features move out. Believe me, we want to get these into your hands as soon as possible too, but we believe this is the right move for the long-term health of the game. They probably didn't have any content for 2027. They need time to work on that. That is the most likely explanation. Wouldn't rework next year? Yes. Jab shouldn't be whip, it should be constant high pressure it used to be. Yeah, it should do something unique as well. Like maybe you could empower jabs like you can empower a whip. And like Magma Fist and Venom Skull and so many other skills. Maybe have like auto block during jabs or stuff like that. Maybe some Templar is kind of more of a defensive class by nature. It's the design of Templar. Maybe you could have some kind of like riposte element to jabs, where if you get hit while jabbing, there's like some damage going out, that kind of stuff. That could be cool. Osaavat mieli. Moro. And Lunfo, hello. Whip shouldn't be whip either. Joka, how you doing? Morist. If we are lucky, yeah, it's not even mentioned here. While those specific features are shifting, the rest of our 2026 roadmap remains packed. Here's what you can expect from our upcoming seasons. Season 1. Update 51 will now launch 1 week later on September 28th. And it will include a new challenge, an overvault, new game system rumors, and some quality of life changes. I don't think there's any new sets, right? If it's just quality of life changes, it's going to be the hybridization stuff, so DK is even more OP because you can get major force from potions. So there's that. Anything else that's going to change the day-to-day PvP experience? Or the combat balance? Not really. Like there's nothing, unless they add some new OP sets, but I don't think they will add any new sets. Got a feeling it's just gonna be this, but maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe there's some new 5-piece like Gotif. Maybe they had time to sneak one in. We'll find out next Monday. Everything else in Season 1 will run as planned, along with a few additions. Thank you for your patience. Live now, Zagrat story quest, but these were supposed to happen anyway. Whitesex Mayhem, so pseudo event. It's for 1 week. It's gonna start very soon, actually, in 1 week as well. August 20th, September 17th. Straight to a crate where you can earn up to 23 crown crates. Nice. September 30th, October 14th, new High Seas of Tamriel event. But is there gonna be new sets? Like that's the kind of like the Night Market had new sets. Had the new monster sets, which are terrible, but it added something new to the game besides just questing. And Reside Battlegrounds will return permanently on September 28th with update 51. I guess you can get anything done by just crying on the forums I am not... I wouldn't mind this if we had the player base for both. But when you add the 3-way battlegrounds as well, and you have the 2-way battlegrounds, that just means longer queue times for people who try to queue to the 2-way battlegrounds. And it still means long queue times for people trying to queue into 3-way battlegrounds. If they completely remove 2-way battlegrounds, that's the most retarded thing they have ever done in this game. If they do that. And this also is giving up. This them being like, oh, we actually don't have time or developers to actually add a matchmaking system to actually make battlegrounds good. So here, just have this thing that you complain about back, and then guess what? Once they bring that back, there's gonna be people, including myself, complaining about the 3-way BGs instead. Because they both have the same fucking issue, which is the matchmaking. And 3-way BGs has a bunch of other issues, but matchmaking is the biggest one. It is just like, there's so many issues with 2-way BGs that they've completely ignored for years, ever since introducing them. Like, maybe the game would be better if they actually fix the problems with PvP. Instead of returning something that failed years ago, that people stopped playing because it was just fucking garbage and they did nothing to fix it. I think they're returning 3 teams back permanently. I mean, for people who enjoy 3-way BGs modes, yes. I suppose it's a good thing. But you're gonna have infinite queues. People who enjoyed the 2-way BGs are just gonna be worse off after this. Might be time to swap to Mistfall Hunter. I'll probably play it a bit off stream, what's a fuck. I'll play it off stream, see if I can see if I have any content or gameplay worth streaming, and maybe I'll stream it if there is, but we'll see. No new sets until new trial. That's what I worry about. I mean, that's the new solo dungeons, there will be the more sets. I think they mentioned it here, yep. Just wanna know the fuck Wheeler and Jellim are doing if no reworks. I don't think they work on the like animations and like all of the... They probably work on the skill... what the skills do and balance, but there's also animations and like visual effects and all of that. And they probably fired all of those developers in during the layoffs. Finally 4v4v4. What do you mean finally? We had a 3-way BG weekend just now. I think it just ended yesterday. I don't mind these event style things where it's something different for a week and then you go back to normal. Even with things like Vengeance, I don't mind that. Though I did prefer Vengeance when it came out. Like before they made any loadout skill nonsense to, like, before they added any of that. I preferred Vengeance back then, but still, if there's like something different to kind of break the monotony, that's always good. But having something permanent that's just gonna lead to longer queue times, nah. They remove 8v8 and replaced with what? It has a lot of issues, but still like the best PvP format there is. If you compare to Cyrodiil and getting chased by bulk groups and Zergs, or if you compare to like 4v4 or 4v4v4, which is just hoping to get into a good team and not having your team just sit on an empty flag and running from DKs and werewolves meanwhile on the other side of the map because you actually want to PvP. Return of the 1 hour queue time, yeah. Hit 8v8 maps, their design is so doxed. Yeah, some of the maps in 4v4v4 were really good. Or are really good. Temin, thank you for your patience. Oh, this game should have been honest about Warden at the start. Yeah, they kind of kept quiet about it. Maybe they thought they would release it in... but they weren't sure if they were gonna have it in the next update, but I think they should have had Warden in the next update. If they move everything else to 2027, that's fine. But we need a little bit more variety than just DK and Werewolf, which is not even a class. Because then people could argue, like, is DK the most OP one, or is Warden the most OP one? If there was some variety, but now it's just DK, like, it's very tiresome. Can tell me any 8v8 map comes close to Arcane University or Angvar. With the Rebel PGs, and now decided for return as an event every month. Then I will probably buy a new forum account and start posting unbalanced 3-way BG screenshots every fucking day, because it's the fucking same as 2-way BGs until they change it. Just do what apparently people do on the forums to get any changes done to a game. Sadly, those people have so far have had like 2 brain cells, so we've gotten no good changes, but it is what it is. Fucking lava map where the quarry is better than bland medieval slope they have now. Yeah, no, the map design is not good. Keep 8v8 and add 4v4v4. They should like, what they should do is not give up on the formats, just fix the matchmaking, fix the map issues, like the spawns being let's say this screen here is the BG map. This is the edge, right? You have to spawn here and you have to spawn here. People can jump down here. Oh, people get spawn camped, what a surprise. People on the other side, they can only jump down here, they get spawn camped. What a surprise. The spawn should be here or here. Like, other games already figured that out. If you don't have turrets or like safety zones or something like that in the spawn, you are going to need a spawn where you can jump off in a 360 angle. Simple as that. So that's the number one issue with the matchmaking. And it is the same in 3-way BGs as well. In everything except the portal map, you have the same issue, but you have 3 teams, so it's less likely that your team is stuck in the spawn. And I suppose that's why a lot of people prefer the 3-way BGs. Because they don't know how to get out of the spawn, they just die. Or they sit in the spawn, or the teammates sit in the spawn. And it's annoying, right? I get that. I fully get that, but it's a map design issue and matchmaking issue. But instead of recognizing that, instead of fixing the issues, they just go back to some old formats that also failed. Like, there's a reason why they removed the 3-way BGs and why they added the team versus team. It's because people stopped playing 3-way BGs. You always had the same people in every lobby. After like 15-minute queues and towards the end of the 3-way BG era. What's Davko? 8v8 is really bad. 4v4v4 is infinite Q AP form. Don't think it's infinite Q when it's the event. You only need 12 people per lobby, so it's faster queues actually. If you have the same amount of people queuing, but when you have both, when you have 8v8 and 3-way BGs, you have 2 competing queues, and that means longer queue times. At least have 2-way BGs as events, then they bring them back permanently. Yeah, I mean, it's probably what's gonna happen, right? At this rate. Necro rework in 2029, yep. What's a Paiko? No balancing done. That is the problem. They give up. They give up and they don't work on content that they've released. They don't try to even properly design it or fix it. That's the problem. Like, if you had developers who kind of knew what they were doing with PvP and Battlegrounds, they won't bring back 3-way BGs. Not yet, maybe after crossplay. they would fix the team versus team BDs, they would fix the maps, they would fix the matchmaking. And when it comes to 4v4, they would just completely rework it, because 4v4 is not fixable. It's completely flawed design, just like 3v BDs are. Like the whole 3 lives system is terrible. The whole balance, even if you have proper matchmaking, would be completely determined by the team composition in 4v4. You could have good players in a team and go against another team which has a healer, which has some buff sets, has more DKs or werewolves, and that team is gonna absolutely wipe the fucking floor with you. Like, you cannot fix 4v4 a solo queue without introducing shuffling, kind of like in WoW. WoW has a perfect system for that. You have healer walls, right? You can introduce that in ESO too, by the way, by having you have a role selection for PvE, for the group finder. You can just have it so that if you pick healer, you do 50% less damage, you do 50% more healing, you receive 50% less healing. If you pick tank or DD, you do 50% less healing, you receive 50% more, so you go back to square one, and no damage penalty. Simple as that. And then you have 2 healers per team, so that fixes another problem, which is multiple healers in one team, which just completely ruins the BD. And you rotate players between those healers. And you have multiple rounds, and voila, matchmaking fixed. You don't have unbalanced lobbies because you play with and against everyone in the lobby. So it is down to your own performance to do well, or not do well. There's no team to blame anymore. There's no flawed matchmaking. It's fixed. WoW figured that out. I don't know why ESO can't just look... How do these other team versus team games do it? Why is League of Legends so popular? It's not 3-way, is it? It's team versus team, right? How is their matchmaking? Why is WoW... Like, why do people like the WoW arenas or WoW BDs? Maybe we should take a look at that. That's the kind of thinking that would be required to fix PvP and the PvP formats in ESO, but they refuse to do that for some reason. Instead, they just throw you back the old PDs and here, have something. It's so stupid. It's even less likely we get any fixes to BDs when they do that. You guys know that, right? Everyone who's happy about the 3-way BDs returning. They haven't changed 3-way BDs in any way. They haven't fixed any of the issues. They just throw them back and here, have this thing. It's just them giving up. Not like they can start with just bouncing reworks and do the animation reworks later. I don't think they can. I think you have to have updated animations, because otherwise when you release it and that's the big rework and you have a lot of people outside of ESO covering it and they see some animation from 2014, that's a very, very bad thing PR-wise. Could adjust numbers now? I think they said that they would do that, but I don't have any faith in that doing anything, because they released class rework, the class masteries, and what did class masteries do? How is Nightblade any more playable than before? How is Templar any more playable than before? How is Arcanist, or actually Arcanist is... You can use Beam on the Bomber now, but the Classmasters didn't really do too much. So why would they say here, discussing some interim options for the classes still awaiting their full refresh to improve your player experience in the meantime. So 6 of them, basically, because the only refresh so far is DK. And what is the strongest class right now? DK. And well, Werewolf. It's because their abilities are actually good, instead of dogshit. Half the skills in this game, actually not even half, 90% of the fucking abilities in this game are complete dogshit. And the, like, 5% of the 10% are on DK, of the good ones. And that's why DK is so broken. Actually, that's actually, like, good abilities that are fun to use. They're not gonna fix that by adding some passives. Hey Kamal, how you doing? Basmo, hello. 10,000 years of reworks? Yeah, kinda. I'm playing Nightmare Masters that have unnecessary Battle Spirit nerfs. So gets infinite sustain for just for existing. Yeah. I mean, Zork is close to DK or Werewolf level. I'd say not there, but close. But how many of the Zork abilities do you guys think are actually fun to use? Shriek, Soar. Oh, that's it actually. There we go. As an ability, that's the only one. That's like actually feels like it has some oomph or some power, you know. It's like everything else you compare to DK or you compare to like you use them in game and it just tickles, for example. Unless you go giga full optimized on with your build and have a lot of damage, then maybe you can hit some big frags, but it's nothing compared to whip. Same with armaments. Like the abilities just don't feel good on other classes. Temple and Nightmare Masters just have unnecessary battles, but yeah. 4v4 group PG, the only PG game mode, and make it ranked. Nah, there needs to be a solo queue as well. Not everyone has a group. But there should be a group queue as well. Looking forward to Werewolf, DK, and Zork for the rest of the year. Nope. What's a palm down? It is the whole group of 8 sitting at one base. Can be very unbalanced. Does not look good for the game. Know how bad streaming that looks. 4v4, that doesn't happen. It absolutely does happen. Wait, should I log in game? I was not gonna log in, but I will after reading that. You say it doesn't happen in 4v4. I can literally prove you wrong. This is what I mean by Wheeler and Gilliam. Can't even say, oh, let's wait for Weworks to fix issues. There will be a year apart. Yeah, it's just taking too long now. They had Angvar a decade ago with 4 fucking portals to avoid spawn campaign. Can't even learn from their own map making successes. To be fair, the other maps are the other maps are 3 VPGs, right? The other ones they had. So there was less of that issue. But they could just look at how more successful MMOs like WoW do it. Or like BDO or Guild Wars 2 has a better BG format than ES, so... They want the game to survive, release all class reworks. 20, yeah, but they don't have them ready. They can't just conjure up some class reworks, like, it doesn't work like that. Like, it would be great if everything in this game got fixed and they added 10 years worth of content instantly, but it doesn't work like that. Celebrate Bethesda's 40th anniversary. What? Redeem the following reward code in the Crown Store to immediately receive 2000 trade bars. Okay. Bethesda 40. Wait, how do you... Oh. Don't mind if I do. Nice. Oh, right. 3 VBDs. Super balanced, right? Super duper balanced. Uh-huh. Yeah. They had fun. They had a lot of fun. Literally first BG I opened. I was an Arcanist here. This team got 2 kills. Someone left the green team, literally. And everyone got farmed the shit out of in this BG. Let's see. Oh, like half the lobby. This is one of the more balanced ones, I suppose. Not very fun for me though. 0-10, 6-7, 3-6, so 3 people negative still. 4-11, 0-14, I bet this guy had a lot of fun. 1-6, 1-13. Like, it's the same in 3-way pitches. 0-7, 0-2. Everyone negative here. 37, 03, 57, 011, 07, 48, 28. That's 14. That's like one good player in the purple team, and everyone else is getting farmed. Three-way BGs are not balanced. They have the same issue that Teamverse team has matchmaking. I mean, by Wheeler and Gilliam, can't even say, oh, let's wait for Red Dead. Can't even learn from Red Dead 2, plain sad. Yeah, it kinda is. 12 plus year issue. Don't see base camping on 4v4v4 happens every game in 8s. Yeah, because there's 3 spawn points. I've still seen people get spawn camped in Teamverse team. But of course you have like one spawn where people just jump down and they run to an empty flag meanwhile. And the reason why there's spawn camping in Teamverse team is because the maps are poorly designed, not because it's Teamverse team. Like, you can't have a map that funnels people into one spot at the very end of the map, where people can only jump down forward instead of 360. Of course that's gonna happen. Hey Mike, how you doing? 27 will be different, maybe. I doubt it. Need shuffle? Yeah, we do. Well, shuffle is basically healer versus healer at this point. 9 out of 10 matches, the better healer wins, since the worse healer can't handle cooldowns. I mean, that sounds like a balancing issue, but it's still more fun for the people queuing into the BG. Like, no matter what, you're still gonna play with that strong healer. Like every second round, right? 3 rounds you play with the other healer, and 3 rounds you play with the weaker one. Should they make DD more impactful? If that's a problem, I'm not super familiar with the balance in retail WoW. Yeah, they should if that's a problem. But still better, like way better than what we have in ESO. With lazy devs don't want to fix these issues. Why should they get good money already doing fuck all? Yeah, it's crazy because like everyone who plays PvP, everyone who plays BDs knows what the problem is. Except some people with 2 brain cells who think that the only problem is the format. That cry on the forums on a daily basis about it. 95% of sets are dogset too. Yeah, but it's a whole different issue. Given replies on the night market comment on the forums, the literal answer you could Google, but ignore all the other good points and questions made under this thread. Should you cancel ESO Plus at this point? I don't believe in boycotts. I think boycotts never achieve anything. Or anything positive, at least. Did an uninstalled game and done for Curse is fun, actual skillful delayed burst. Curse is fun if you compare it to Path of the Light, for example. Like, it's way better than Path of the Light. But is it really like an impactful ability? I would say not really. If it had like major breach, maybe. Like, it's missing a little bit. Always uninstalls come back next year when everything's ready. Yeah, I mean, that's an option. Like, not for me, because I need to make content around ESO and need to do everything in the game always, but if people don't mind skipping stuff, they can always do that. One man spawns spawn camps in 3v BGs. I mean, I can if I want to, but I usually like running around instead of waiting for the people to respawn. Plus, it's gonna cringe to spawn camp unless you're spawn camping cringe people. Soak abilities are terrible. Compare frag to Flameless. It's a joke. Yeah. Yeah, but even if Flameless wasn't reworked, even if Decay wasn't reworked, those abilities would still feel very dated and unimpactful. Like, I don't think the game was in a good state combat-wise before DK rework. Like, it was feeling very dated, and still is. On everything except DK and Werewolf. What's basis? Orin ETA on Guild Wars 3. I think next in 2027, like September or October, something like that. That was pretty real. Cross to redeem the code. Oh, yeah, just did that. They can visit their lazy devs. They can just pop out all class reworks. Yeah, if they could, I think they would have done that already. Thought they would try hard to make stuff happen. It's obvious they are slacking. Who's slacking? They just fired like half the developers. I don't think they have anything developed for 2027, so they had to move things that they had ready to 2027 so that they have some content in 2027. Because they don't have developers anymore because of the Microsoft bitch who just fired all the people working on this game. So if there's anyone at fault, it's the fucking Microsoft bitch. Want them to take their time with reworks. If that's the way they want to do it, then if you really care about PP, then you just uninstall because the meta is ridiculous. I mean, you can make the most out of it. It's still better than the subclass meta, if you ask me. More fun than 8v8, the 4v4v4s. It depends. If you are not a target of some retarded stream snipers, then sure. If you get in a decent team, sure. If you get in the worst team and you're playing Arcanist or Nightblade and you have some dipshits running after you with DK because your team is on the other side on a flag doing absolutely fucking nothing and you're solo and you have 4 people running after you, then no, it's not very fun. And that never happens in 8v8 really. So I guess it's a matter of perspective. But that's been ridiculous for years. If you found out now, yeah, there's always something people complain about. Are people now outraging when obviously a fuck ton of people got fired, they can deliver faster? Yeah. Yeah, it's not that the devs are lazy or anything. I don't believe that. I just don't think there's enough devs. Well, balanced and most game modes are really bad for 3 teams, but at least the spawn camp is not as bad as the 8v8. Yeah, because of the map format and the like 3-way nature of them. You know, Kamul is not glazing the devs at all. I think Kamul's a very realistic, has a very realistic outlook on things in general. 3-way BGs are not balanced, they also suffer from matchmaking. There's less base camping, and when they do, the other teams come to look for them. No, because the other team is just running after me usually. They don't care about that. There's less base camping, there's more XV1ing, more just toxic griefing in 3-way BGs than in 2-way. Just look at all the... like, there's literally... I'm not gonna call anyone out by name, but there's literally people just only playing 3-way BGs because they can run after people and vanguard them in 3-way. But they can't really do that in 2-way. Which I don't mind, like, that's a challenge mode for me. If that happens, like, they're not gonna kill me, just reduce my damage. I can still kill things if someone reduces my damage. But when you have a multiple dual build DKs and werewolves running after me, and you have a team that's just standing on a flag doing nothing, then it's not very fun. That part I do not appreciate. Being realistic, had a schedule, each part of the team got fired. Yeah, exactly. When they had a schedule, they themselves didn't know they got fired. Yeah, I think if there wasn't any layoffs, we would have gotten the Warden rework. We would have gotten a lot of content, and the game was going in a good direction. So I don't understand why they had to lay people off. It's the most retarded thing I've ever seen. Other game studios with less people than SOS have done it though. In games with very different engines, Hometown. Very different engines, much smaller games in terms of like the amount of content. It's not, you're not comparing, you're comparing apples to oranges. Hey, Starpixels, how you doing? Game has just been in an unacceptable state for years and has only gotten worse. Reworks were definitely a positive for the game, but now they're delayed to an unknown date in 2027, leaving the game in another unacceptable state. Wait, you say it's only gotten worse, but you say the reworks were definitely a positive. I think the game did get better after reworks, and Classmaster is a very good addition. I think it's been getting better, but you can't have the same meta for ages. And that's the difference with subclassing and the subclassing put the game in a worse state in 2025. The Decay rework, Werewolf rework, Class Masteries, these are all good changes. But still, being stuck in one meta is not gonna be particularly fun. Having to wait for the next rework until 2027 is not... You're right about that part. Does they want that Guys Warden won't be released on update 51, maybe not even this year, instead of hiding that information? They didn't know that, Testot. I'm pretty sure they thought they would release Warden, and then layoffs. And then they had to figure out if they can release Warden, or if they have to delay Warden until next year, because they want to have content next year. Because the alternative was that they would release Warden, and then next year they would release nothing. Instead of having like the Decay and Werewolf this year and Warden, and then absolutely nothing next year, they are doing Decay, Werewolf, and then Warden next year instead. I'm certain that's the case. Rather than them hiding information on purpose or anything like that. Hey, Seiya, how you doing? Thing is, they are doing too much. No one cares about 80% of the things they're working on, as it is not balanced work and refresh. I think a lot of casual players do care about that kind of stuff. Like, we are in a PvP bubble right now. Like, we are not the majority of the player base. Talking here, let's be very clear about that. There's a lot of people who were very upset that they didn't release a yearly new zone with questing, some easy questing, which has the same fucking format every year. I personally find that very boring, but other people like it. Other people like the questing and all of that, and they kind of have to release stuff for everyone. That's the thing. We have never done business. We've been expecting positive change for years, finally got it, and now it's delayed once again. Yeah, exactly. All because of one retard at Microsoft who doesn't understand how MMOs work, or how MMO player bases think. Full statement, they knew on July 6th Warden wasn't gonna make it to update 51. How do you know that? Do you have some inside information, Testot? That they knew immediately that Warden, that was almost ready already, at that point wasn't gonna make it? Or do you think, like, maybe it's more reasonable that they delay Warden until next year because they had absolutely nothing ready for next year? They kinda stated here, for the long-term health of the game. We believe this is the right move for the long-term health of the game. Because they can't release Warden this year and then absolutely nothing next year. Imagine how next year is gonna be if they do that. Like, sure, we'd have Warden rework this year, but next year everyone would leave the game, basically. If they do no reworks, nothing. It's just the same game for a year. And they had to make that decision. So I can fully believe that they didn't know that Warden was or wasn't gonna make it. What's the name of the add-on that shows your BG history? There's two of them. One is Impressive Stats, and the other one is called Battleboard. End of the day, with this letter, we finally know the direction we are headed, so it's your choice to either stay or leave and come back in 2027. Yeah, everyone can make their own choices. In slacking even before layoffs. Or focusing on things that like we don't agree with. I think I'm 100% certain that the game would be in a lot better state if they had dedicated development time and resources into fixing BGs, into fixing matchmaking, into adding some long-term competitive element to a game where you have like actual rankings, actual matchmaking, something people can compete over. If they had added something like that, or if they had turned BGs into that, the game would be in a better place. Like, much better place. You'd have a lot more people talking about ESO, you'd have a lot more people watching Twitch streams about ESO. Like, no matter how many casuals there are, how many questing enjoyers and people who explore zones and that's their main thing they do in the game, no matter how many of those people there are, the game would still be in a better place if they had maybe dedicated a little bit more resources into fixing BGs. So the Warden won't make it to update 51. They did in this post just now. I can give them the benefit of the doubt that they didn't know if it was gonna make it to update 51 or not. Infinite, how you doing? Microsoft don't want ESO to succeed. Yeah, it really seems that way, or they don't understand how to make ESO succeed. I think at the very least they were already extremely behind on Warden rework prior to these sackings. Supposed to be on BTS almost a month ago now, and is now delayed to sometime in 2027. I don't know if they were, like, the sackings happened about the same time as they were about to go live with the BTS, right? So they were still, like, maybe finishing up the Warden, but it was more or less done, I think. Like, the delays on BTS happened after the layoffs. And from what I've heard, it was in a, like, people have seen the Warden rework. They've showed it to Stream Team and whatnot. Because they get to see things before we do. I think it was more or less ready. Depends all the time in 8v8. The people running after you when you have no team, and almost never in my case. But 4v4v4 all the fucking time. In 8v8, your teammates are gonna respawn. You're gonna have a place to fall back to. They're always playing they're always playing PvP because objective is PvP. But in 4v4v4, what I find to be the case is that they just stand on an empty flag, and if I wanna play PvP in the BG, I'm just not able to. If there's some retards in the opponent team. It took them a month to write this letter, by the way. Yeah, I wish they could have figured things out a little bit faster, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Remade the roadmap and announced it. Would take weeks to announce the new roadmap. Holding on to old roadmap wasn't a smart thing to hold on to. Yeah, true. Who would ever do such a thing as Vanguard someone? I know, right? But I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't, by the way, the Vanguard stuff, I don't take it personally because I know that happens to everyone. But there are a lot of like really weird personal dramas that people have, and they decide to just run after you, queue into BGs to run after you when you don't have a team, or if you're on a bad class like Nightblade or Arcanistan. And it's only because they don't like you, because they think that oh, this streamer, people shouldn't think that he's good at the game. I'm gonna show them all. My DK is gonna, oh, I got 1v2. Oops, I got 1v2'd. My bad. That kind of stuff happens a lot, unfortunately. But the Vanguard stuff, these are just trolls who troll everyone. I don't care about that. And they don't really... It's kind of like a challenge mode. You do less damage to everyone. If you can still get off kills, if you can survive, sustain, your build's probably good. It's good for testing, actually. But it's not from a place of like disrespect. That's the key difference. Had a weird feeling as well based on the lack of news in their live streams. Yeah, they were being very, very quiet about Warden for quite a while. They were behind on schedule anyway, which sucks. I mean, maybe. Or just trying to figure out if they can... If they can release Warden and have things for later still. What's disappointed in crossplay though? No mention considering the technical difficulties of it. Can't see it happening. Wait, I didn't finish this yet. Was there anything else? So this probably nothing really that's going to impact PvP. Right, season 2. There's some stuff here that might be impactful. So October 21st. Solo dungeons. There's 2 new monster sets. Imagine if one of them is like Mazelok tier or a Baylok tier monster set. That's gonna be impactful in PvP. If that's the case. So that's always something I can be semi-excited about when they add something that changes the way you play the game. Potentially. More ESO lives? No, they said they would return the live streams. There was a post about that. How's the Warden delayed until next year? Layoffs came like 1.5 months before the Warden was supposed to be released. Someone explain how it makes sense that the remaining devs can finish the Warden during this year. I think it's finished, Bitter. I think it's finished, they just can't release it. Because if they do release it, then they don't release anything next year. Because they don't have, like, the current stuff, like the trial is poly ready. Let's be clear about that. The trial, the Warden, all of that is poly done. It's just that, I get kicked, yeah. It's just that they can't release it because they don't have anything done for next year. Like, it's not, it's kind of layered, the way development works in games. You are not just thinking like, oh, what's the next update? You're already thinking of what's after the next update, and they kind of already work on that stuff as well. And turns out like now they don't have anything done for that next update, because all of the developers working on that got fired. So you naturally get delays, or even on things that were ready, if that makes sense. Hope they buffed the class masters for the scheduled classes at least. Finally nerfed the projectile damage reduction on DK wings. I don't hope they nerf anything on DK. Like, as I said earlier, like all of the other classes, they feel unimpactful. Like the abilities don't feel strong. Like 90% of the abilities in this game are dogshit. Adding more abilities that are dogshit or turning good abilities into dogshit ones is not the solution. It's not going to make the game better, especially in the long run. Doesn't look too good. Class refresh and designing a new trial is very complex. Will take our time. Yeah, I think the what they write in the post is just bullshit. I said that earlier. This part is bullshit. Sacrificing the quality you deserve. Quality experience over calendar dates has nothing to do with quality. It has to do with development time. It has to do with lack of developers. There's no time to actually develop stuff. Hey, tak, how you doing? Ulopi, hello. Can we even have enough players for actual MMO? I think it does. Someone did the... I think there was some... did the Battleboard have some, like, tracker on how many people play BGs? But it was in the thousands. You definitely have enough players. You see different names every lobby. it would have even more players if there was matchmaking or actual MMR system. The main reason why most people are not staying in ESO or hyped about ESO's PvP is the lack of actual MMR and matchmaking. If you watch any streamer like from other game try ESO, the main reason why they move to other games is that there's no ranked in PvP, in ranked PvP in ESO. I was gonna leave the game in the next 5 months anyways, to where though? That's the thing, like there's nothing to move on to. BTs are missed opportunity, they 100% are. They don't understand what the biggest issues with the ESO are. They're kinda just trying to work on the wrong stuff a lot of the time, but... Talking about games right now, can I ask something else? Sure. No, Deadlines was also I'm just a little bit behind chat still trying to catch up. Dingle, how you doing? Deadlines was also get siphoned away at will to Bethesda Game Studios. I mean, that's one scenario. But ESO thought your plan had worked to ban you from the game for selling gold. Trying to be funny, or... It's not very funny. Would probably have to do something similar to Guild Wars 2 PvP, where you get template characters. Let me scroll up. Template characters steal your character with your inventory, etc., but everything unlocked in PvP zone. Or people could just make good builds. It's not like ESO has a lot of gear grind. Or there's some gear grind, but it's not like... It's not a progression system like in other MMOs, where it makes sense to have a... kind of like a standardized PvP format. When is 2027? Yes, unfortunately. Sly, how you doing? Layoffs are not an excuse, the Warden should have been ready by then. It is probably ready, but again, like they can't release it because they don't have anything for the next year if they do. I think that's pretty... I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm like 99% sure that's the case. Yeah, Stream Team was discussing about Warden rework a long time ago. So it's not like it's not ready, it's just that how do you release it then? Have some kind of content roadmap for the next year. Scarrits loves to waste your time. I think he loves to waste everyone's time. It's his fun. Not Season of the Decay, it's the Year of the Decay. Yeah, kinda. What's up, Scarrits? How you doing? Speak of the devil. Literally the devil, the Vanguard devil. Still hard to find a dungeon group as TPS? Nope. The population's not in a bad place at the moment in ESO TakTak. Like, lots of people play the game. Game's been going in a great direction. Might not be the case if they delay stuff and stop working on it though. So it's well for everyone. Hidden werewolf buff. 6-month delay is a bit excessive. It is. 6-month werewolf DK meta. Yeah, I don't think anyone's happy about that. Their hands are tied. Tell you how hard it is to reorganize the... wait. Oh, I don't get it. Less content, more content becoming free to play. All signs of a game heading towards maintenance mode, seen it before. I hope you're wrong, Mayad. Hello. Look at this letter, then look at the PP meta will be like, yeah, I'm uninstalling. I do worry that a lot of people will do that. I said that would happen when they announced the layoffs. I said that things would take longer to release and people would get upset about that and they would start quitting the game because of that. The moment the layoffs happened, This is all like, again, this is all because of that one Microsoft retard deciding to lay off people from a studio that's finally making good changes. Is to like hamstring a game that's moving in the right direction. It makes zero sense. It's actually crazy. If Archive Gear Grind is the only hellish one, PvP is very toxic, adding ranks will increase toxicity. No, I think ranked PvP actually reduces toxicity, because a lot of toxicity comes from the place of people having to prove themselves. They think they will prove themselves by stream sniping streamers and being like, oh, look at me, look at me, look at me, because there's no ranked. They can only live off of the opinions of other people. So a lot of toxicity comes from that, because there's no competitive format to prove yourself in. Besides like player organized dueling tournaments and add-ons and stuff like that, for like BG KDRs and that kind of stuff, you can kind of semi-use that to like estimate your level of gameplay. But these are the only things. These are like all unofficial. They're not part of the game, and none of that would be necessary if there was an actual meaningful rankings in the game. A lot of the toxicity would just disappear overnight. Because there's a lot of people in ESO who think they're really good, but they don't have any accomplishments. And they wouldn't be able to get any accomplishments. They just don't understand that. Like, if there was ranked BGs like solo queue, they would never be even in the top 10%. But you don't have that, so you have a lot of Delulu instead. Stop exposing me. Wait, what? I'm not exposing anyone. Okay, what else they write? We finally got off with chat, I'm surprised. So 2 solo dungeons, there's new mod sets, they confirmed that. I'll probably do this on stream, it's solo, so I can actually do that at any point. There's difficulty settings, well, max difficulty of course. The group versions become free. Greymore and Markat free. Because they are in the new PvP zone, which is in Skyrim. Some crates, and this is the roadmap. So we are here. Actually, no, we're here. And if you look at Season 2... Oh, wait, no, they didn't... okay, maybe we do get the Warden in the Q1. Because this is only until winter, so we have the Soul Dungeons, the... oh, that's pretty much it, actually. It's the Soul Dungeons and the... They don't mention it here, but the Nowhere Vault thing. Hey Lara, how you doing? Avoid PP most days, solo a lot. You think PvP is toxic because... but there is no ranked. Or you avoid it because it's toxic. Because the biggest reason why it's toxic is because there's no ranked. So a lot of people will try to convince you that they're the best players in the game because they 4v1 you on a DK, for example. Lots of people is needing to convince others that they are the best players and blah blah blah. And it's because there's no competitive format. It's kind of like what's a good example? It's kind of like if you had football and but you didn't have any leagues, and who was the best player would only be like a popularity contest. And then people would think that some dipshit who can't even hit the goal from like 5 meters away is the best player because he has a lot of friends. like that kind of stuff. That's what happens when you don't have a competitive format or environment. Pushing things back a couple months, but enjoy these features as we work. Value your patience. Grey Warden, how you doing? Market for a 6.5 million gold few days ago, now it's free. Not yet, no, but they're gonna make it free. Can Etheric Cleanser, Plaguebringer, Monomyth, Onslaught, Templar work for duels, BGs, etc.? Plaguebringer, do you mean Blakebreak or Blakeslinger? Which one? Blakeslinger's pretty decent for dueling. Not so much for BGs, I think. It's too much movement. You have a very like static area with the Blakeslinger. It does proc very often, but I'm not sure if I would go for that. A Blakeslinger. For duels, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. I do prefer Crescent and Dual over Onslaught though. I tested both. I just prefer doing the LSS and you get the minor breeds pretty much all the time on Templar, so just better to build for other stuff than Onslaught, I feel like. Doing well, glad to hear. Everyone's having a good day. Some bad news today for ESO, but otherwise doing alright. Thank you for asking. Microsoft wants to consolidate studios. Not only are the remaining soft stuff smaller, but now they'll have to split their time and effort between projects. Yeah, I really hope that's not the case, because one of the biggest mistakes they made was the Project Blackbird nonsense. Some other MMO they were working on that no one gave a fuck about. And it got cancelled, and a bunch of development time. Probably, like, imagine what we would have in ESO if they hadn't siphoned developers into working on some unannounced project that got cancelled. If they do the same again, I'm very disappointed. I think it's very, very bad for the game if that's gonna happen. Soon they'll release a balance patch to help PP before next year. They said they would change things for other classes, but I have no faith in that being a good thing. They added class masteries. What did class masteries do for Nightblade, for example? They got the worst class masteries. DK got the good ones, so it just made things even more broken. In a way, if you compare one class to another. Kevin's commenting on the Reddit announcement, said they will take measures in the meantime to ease the pressure of the DK Werewolf meta. I hope it's not nerfing DK and Werewolf. I hope it doesn't make it so that you have to build for sustain on DK and just tickle damage and everyone's just stalemating each other everywhere. I really hope that's not the approach they take, because they can always make things worse. That's always a possibility, right? Miss you Nightblade so much? Yeah, like Nightblade is just not gonna be fun until the rework. They would have to give it some insane class mastery, like restoring health and resources while invis or something. Like, what if every second you're invisible, you heal for 3k and restore 3k resources? I don't think that would even be broken. I think that would be very balanced considering how easy it is to countercloak. It just feels bad to play Nightblade at the moment. I just hate it. I actually hate it. I hate using leeching strikes or siphoning. I hate spamming it every second. I hate having 0 heals. It's just a miserable experience playing Nightblade. Never mind this build. I'll wait for the tempo build. I should have it ready. Hopefully in 5 hours or something like that. I have my PV proc in 40 minutes, but after PV, I'll finish the video. Took a day off yesterday to work on it. This case sadly was in Bethesda Game Studios letter as well as this one. That they're cooperating with Bethesda, but I assume that goes both ways. That they get some help from from Bethesda as well, but I wonder how it's gonna look like. Bethesda works on single player game. It's very different from working on an MMO. Hey Toma, how you doing? What's new? Something major? Good? Bad? Kind of bad. Everything got delayed until 2027. Yeah, no class refreshes until next year. Really reaches an SE being an afterthought. It kind of does. But what can we do? So is today's, this year's roadmap. Continue to grow ESO with you. And bumps in the road over our 12-year history that we've always faced together. As our studio evolves, we are not looking to just maintain the game, we are looking to grow it. You, our community, are the reason we have grown over the years, and we want to keep growing with you. Moving forward, our principles are simple. We'll continue to build fun and rewarding experiences through our seasonal model. Deliver long-standing player-requested features and changes that make Tamriel more fulfilling, and find new ways to provide you with features and content to keep your adventures fresh. As we finalize our plans through 2027 and beyond, we're still hard at work bringing you all new experiences in Skyrim, never before seen in the Elder Scrolls Online. In Skyrim, huh? They're really doing that, huh? In the next anniversary edition, I guess. Just in ESO. Showing you more of this content over the upcoming months. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. ESO is nothing without you, our community. Thank you for your content dedication, your feedback, and your support. Continue to build our Tamriel together. Okay. It's it is disappointing, but let's look at the positives. We are getting the soul dungeons, new mod sets, maybe some changes to meta with that. Maybe they had some 5-piece sets. There's the hybridization of the potions coming in update 51, which by the way is going to make DK even more broken. What else? We're getting the PvP zone next year. In January, that was confirmed. Hopefully it's going to be good. Hopefully they don't just rush it out, because I thought they needed to work more on the PvP zone. Small PvP zone's name is Jarl Pass. Jarl Mountains are the ones that separate Zero and Skyrim. Zero and Skyrim. Yeah, let me find a map. Let me find a map here. I think there was one in Reddit. Chris, how you doing? Rather see a realistic roadmap than pretend it's business as usual. They're kind of doing both. Like there was a lot of like, there was some bullshit in the post basically, like them saying that they want to focus on the quality and that's why they delay stuff. No, it's nothing to do with quality. I kind of wish they were just honest about that, but again, like, what can we do? What can we do as players? So I don't want to dwell too much on the on all the shit. What do you think about this build? Just made it yesterday with gear you had in bank. Wait. Rocks of Redst. I don't need Redst on Plar. Oh, Beam. I kinda didn't like Beam after testing it. Wait, can I display cap? I can. Flashbang. It will present the new zone as from Skyrim as something incredible special. Maybe. Would be risky for a corporation, to be honest. Corporate PR jargon. Yeah, exactly. So bullshit, in other words. Hope the small PP zone will not turn into another bulk group zone. Yeah, I I think it will, but we'll see. Change the beam to the backlash beam users, to be honest. It kinda is, but is this for open world or dueling? I mean, probably open world, but in open world I don't think backlash is good, or profile light, path to light. For the morph names of that. I'll have a Templar video out. You can have an idea what I do on it, but I think Lancer's really good. I think Lancer is criminally underrated by a lot of people. Like, a lot of you guys are sleeping on Lancer or just flat out hating Lancer for no reason. If Lancer gets more than 5% in CMX, it's already really good, because every time you're on offense, the reason you don't have full uptime on the Lancer buff is because you can't proc it while you're not in fight. In a fight, but you will proc it instantly when you get in a fight. So you pretty much always have the 300 weapon spell damage. 300 weapon spell damage is worth 5% damage, more or less. So what you get is 5% in the proc itself, which is in burst format. You get a sundered proc, not even part of that 5%. And then you get the weapon spell damage, which is 5% and buffs you heals. Lancer is a good set, and I do mention this on my build video. This is not coping, it's facts. And I see a lot of, like, I've done some research on what other people run. Lots of people run Lancer. It's not just me. When's the video? Later today. But yeah, you don't need Reds. I would do Rally. Rally or some proc set. I've also seen some other builds that go way higher damage than I do. I compared my build to another build I saw yesterday. That build does 30% more damage. On average, 30 to 40%. But it's not max health, 30k health, and it's just not really 1vx capable, I think. But for duels, you can also build for max damage with like Marshall, Waters and Ice, and I think that build had Twice Fanged. So it was Twice Fanged and Lancer on the body. Looked really strong as well. That's another option. But if you want to build for like survivability as well, which I would recommend, then just all points into health. Yeah, I don't think Reds is really worth it though. At least with the bubble. I don't know if you have bubble. No, you have Harbinger. Harbinger is worse for solo play. For group play it's nice, if you can buff your teammates, but for solo play you want to get the bubble. Tried rolling 2, survived for 12 minutes. Not bad. Couldn't kill the enemy, that's the Templar roll. If you play the builds that can survive. If you play a build that's like full damage, you can maybe get a kill on someone if they don't press you straight off the bat. But I don't think how you, I don't see how you're gonna survive a like really good werewolf, for example, or on a build that goes full damage, because then you're not gonna be in a position where you can ever go offense. You can burst 50k health with like Javelin and Path to Light, for example. And you're eating 10k DPS every second. So you're gonna need the bubble and the really high max health and the heals from the max health. And there's always some downsides to every Templar build, but that's just how it is. That's just how the balance is. If you don't play DK or Werewolf, you're gonna have some downsides, something you lack with your build. PP, you're gonna die, who cares? Yeah, you're gonna die, but if you only die and never kill, then it's not fun to play. I just don't see like a 50k health werewolf dying to a Plar. Or a like 40k health DK. 30k health DK, I saw the video that I watched, and that Templar did kill some 30k health DKs. But then like once you get to higher health pool, play a bit more like Bok oriented, I can only see the Templar dying in those cases. My approach is different. I'm not saying this is the approach everyone needs to take, but my approach is that if I can survive and not die, and then kill the squishier people, like I'm happy with that. Because that means that you can play the build in open vault, you can play it in BTs, and it's not down to like RNG if you can have fun or not. Do you mean bubble class mastery? Yeah, the bubble class mastery. Not giga boring. I mean that's perspective. Like that's just a matter of preference. Because for me, it's very boring to go into a duel and die in 2 seconds. Because the build is like 30k health and happens to be a Templar. And you fight a DK or a werewolf. Like at that point, I'd rather tank the 5 minutes and then not duel the DKs and werewolves. When is the video? Did I answer that? Later today, I think. But I will say, I think the build I saw maybe is better than the... Overall is maybe better for dueling. Or more fun, because the build I have does stalemate a lot. You can get kills if someone makes a big mistake. With the bubble CC, if they get greedy and you CC them a low health, and you have like Lancer and jabs and whatnot, then you can get kills, but it's mostly stalemates. The build I saw seems to be mostly either win or loss, but it's only gonna be loss against some builds, I think. But if you just randomly duel people and you wanna get kills, then I think the build I saw last night is probably better. The Marslock and Twice Fanged. Fight your builds, just gonna streak out 30 seconds in, no point fighting that. Same with lots of other people in Aliker. Yeah, but that's the like state of the game. If you're trying to kind of look at value of things and you play classes like Templar or Necro, like what can you do really? I play Sork full damage, like my Sork is fond of power and 30k health. But that's because Sork you can kind of play full damage. Thanks to Shriek, so it's just positioning and it's just a matter of positioning and using your globals properly. Would go for a Lancer, but don't have anything of that set yet. Need to farm. It's definitely worth the farm. Was there anything else here that I didn't read yet? No, right? Okay, there's the forum post. Did he answer any questions? No, just the night market one. And there was something here. From Kevin, right? And people are very, very upset about the delays, understandably. You're barely playing the game, at least solo. Yeah, no, I wish it was better balanced in that sense. Like, I barely duel these days, that's why in the video I'm only gonna have one duel. But I barely do anything Aliker, because every time I go to Aliker, I just see DKs everywhere. DKs and werewolves, and I know that if I fight them on Templar, it's gonna be a stalemate. If I fight them on Necro, it's gonna be a stalemate. If I fight them on werewolf, it's gonna be a stalemate. If I fight them on my dueling DK, the Koro one, I'm gonna win. But it's just like, it's just fucking boring. It's just stalemates. Stalemates. And if you don't build to stalemates, then you die against those builds. Like, it's bad. So I think going into the future, I think there's gonna be less and less duels, because more and more people play those kind of tanky DKs and werewolves. Or tanky Necros. You don't really see a lot of builds that are like fun to fight against. It's because they had so much health scaling. The problem is the health scaling. So playing this Nightmare these days, everywhere werewolves. Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I make the builds tanky, because I expect there to be werewolf, and then a DK, and then another werewolf, and maybe more DKs, and you're gonna have a lot of people on you, so you need to be able to survive that. If you're not, then you're at the mercy of matchmaking, or you're at the mercy of fighting the right people. And then I don't want to call it a good build at that point. Only as we do now is group PGs pretty much. Everything else beyond boring. But group PGs too, like it's fine if you get some good opponent group. But how often does that happen? Because it's been a while since I did group PGs, but last time I remember there was a like fully comped out group against me with like synergies and shit and buff sets. I did one BG and I don't know if I could again after that. Because you need the right comp as well. If you have people try harding. If you have people with like dedicated shield support and buff sets and all of that. Worst state the game has been in that you remember. Anything over 35k health should be permabanned. Except for Necros and Arcas maybe. No, I think they should be too. Like I think everyone should be like 30k health. Max health is really, really bad for the game. Or max health scaling, especially. It just creates stalemates. 50% good team is either stomp or get stomped. Here's the thing, if you have 50% good team and your opponents have 100% good team, you're gonna lose. Like there's no way around it. You're just gonna lose. It's all about having the right comp in 4v4s. Where's the Kevin posts? Oh, here's one. Do we have any information about this Jarl Pass PP zone, or is it some previously undisclosed content? This is the mid-size PP zone we mentioned earlier this year. Will be available to test later this year in BTS before it hits live early next year. So we're gonna get BTS probably in December in that case. December or late November. Interesting. That's also worth keeping in mind, is that we get BTS a lot earlier than the actual update, so we might be able to test Warden in November. If we get the Warden rework in Q1. Because they didn't show next year's roadmap. It is possible we get the Warden rework first update of 2027. And maybe we get another rework at the end of that year. Or maybe even summer that year. It is possible. I mean, high HP should massively impact your damage and sustain, so it actually has diminishing returns. That's a foreign concept to ESO. Yeah. I think max HP should be strong against burst, weak against pressure. Because it makes sense, right? But at the moment, max health is just strong against everything, because your heal over time is also scale based on max health. It's just a design issue. Don't believe they can do both Warden and Sork in January. Hell no. I don't see that happening. I don't think they even started working on Sork. But maybe you can get Sork in June 2027. I don't want to be all doom and gloom yet. I want to always try to stay positive, but stay realistic. Because it also doesn't, you don't want to live in a Delulu bubble either. Maybe ask how high the class refresh is on the priority list. It is the feature people crave, breathes new life in the whole game, almost every aspect of it. Hope the team knows this and how much it would also help ESO bring players back. It is high on the list of things we are actively working on. However, now we need extra time to make it, we now need the extra time to make VR delivering the quality product you deserve. Okay, I think that's a typo. Yeah, but that's just PR speak. quality of the product. I think the product is ready. Like they just don't have anything for the next year, basically. Yeah, also sad that they didn't mention crossplay. Is there anything about it here? Generally think the class refreshes should be a top priority over any other new content. Yes. Dick and Valve are going to be meta for the next 6 months. Just to clarify here, we will be working to ease the pressure of the DK and Valve meta in the interim, but fully understand the concern here. AAA BGs are coming back. Best ESO news I've heard all year. I quit PvP because of stupid 2-team gangfest that replaced BGs. What is this guy's in-game at? And please tell me it's a PC EU player. It's hilarious that people think that 3-way BGs are somehow better balanced. They would just release Warden earlier. Yeah, I think so. Keep in mind the plan was to release also Sork this year. So I think there's a chance that we get Warden and Sork. There is a possibility, but not this year. Did not get the free 1k weapon damage. Would build more resources and not max HP. Not sure about that. You do get more value when your weapon spell damage is low to build for weapon and spell damage. Like the more you stack one thing, the less value it gets. But I think with the amount of health scaling, you'd still go max HP. Because everyone else would have even less damage. So they would be even less likely to kill you through your health scaling heals. Forsaken Realms, Varinsko, I've heard that name. Is that a... What kind of game is that? Is that a... Oof, not good Steam ratings. Fantasy action RPG. Mixed on Steam. I see. Sork is still S tier class, even without buff. Sork is close to DK and Werewolf, but it's not on the same level. Again, like, as I mentioned earlier, how many Sork abilities do you think are actually good? 10% of this game's abilities are actually good, and 5% of those 10% are on DK and Werewolf. 90% of the skills in the game are just terrible and feel bad to use. Like, imagine, for example, Nightblade, how fun Nightblade would be if they, like, let's say, Shadowy Disguise. Imagine if Shadowy Disguise, instead of just draining 2k magicka and doing nothing when you click on it, imagine if it cost a lot of resources, let's say like 4k magicka and stamina, both resources, not just one, but you'd stay invis for 30 seconds, and you would get a burst heal, and it would cleanse all debuffs on you when you click it. So your character would like throw down a smoke bomb or something, or maybe it would cleanse one debuff every second while you're invisible. So you'd actually get some value out of it if you use it properly. You would actually have an ability that feels like power when you use it. You don't feel powerful when you use 90% of the abilities in the game. That's fucking terrible in an MMORPG, that feeling. You don't have any like hero moments on your character that you play, which you do have in other games and other like MOBAs and so on. You need to have that. You need to have strong abilities. That's why I'm always against any nerfs to DK and Werewolf, because they do have those. But you don't have those on other classes, which is fucking sad. GTA 6, tune in to see Desi testing a new zone. We have the damage without max stam or magicum. No, you never have enough damage to deal with the max health stacking. That's why there's always stalemates. If you remove the damage, if you remove free 1k weapon spell damage, you have even less damage and people still build the tank. Because they can. Cosplays off the table, most likely. I hope not. Shrink away from everything, you just can't kill DKs and werewolves. GG's, what's the point? Yeah, Shriek is like one of the good abilities in this game, one of the few good abilities. Causing power to Nightblade and Arca than it is to DK. I think it's like kinda in the middle. Actually no, you can't compare to Nightblade and Arca, just compare to Templar and Necro, I think. Actually Arca is up there. I don't think Arca is that far behind Templar and Necro after you optimize it. But Nightblade is at the bottom of the barrel. I think comparing anything to Nightblade is... that's just mean. Will be perma 3-way in BGs as it was before. There is nothing to play in ESO for you because ICN 0 sucks. I think they want to have both. If they have only 3-way BGs, that's a huge mistake, and I'm literally gonna buy a new account to post on the forums because they banned my current one. I'm gonna make a thread on the forums about how unbalanced and terrible 3-way BGs are. I'm gonna post scoreboards every day until they change it back to team versus team. That's what I'll do. In duels at least. No, it's still... Sorg is still better than Necro and Templar. So if the studio is the same as when Orsium was released, the thing is that they need to reorganize the roles and workload again, which takes time. The game can grow from this point on still. It may be the same size as Orsinium when it released, but the game isn't. The game is a lot bigger. There's a lot more interconnected systems, a lot more classes than back then. It requires more people or more work to balance things at the moment than back then. Back then you had like 1/3 of the sets we have at the moment. You didn't have class masteries, you had 2 less classes, right? Actually no, 3 less classes because there wasn't even a warden back then. They added a lot of food buffs, lots of potions, lots of things that can break if you change something else. Letter was lackluster, it kinda was. What's up, Yufa? Time to drop the game again. Oof. That's not no, that's next Monday. Shriek best kill in the game? It is one of the best kills, I think so. Would you rather have Shriek or Heart of Flame? Think about it. Hunting Curse is okay. It's okay, but it's not super impactful. It doesn't feel like, wow, something happened when it goes off. But if it had like Major Breach, for example, then you'd have a bit more loaded skill. Kind of like when you think about like Wings on DK, you have Major Expedition, range damage reduction. You have the CC around it. Just having a CC and like that saves bar space, right? So I think Curse should have something like Major Breach or something that buys you bar space to actually play your class in a varied way, kind of like you can do on DK. From DK you don't need a CC if you have Wings. You don't need a Race Against Time if you have Wings. Those both. Tiffy, how you doing? Death of this game? I hope not. I hope not. Or games have cooldowns on those strong abilities. Yeah, they do. They could add those to ESO, to some abilities. They have them in Vengeance, right? They kind of like have a semi cooldown on the ultimate. You have to build it up. It is, in a way, it's a cooldown. Or a resource system. It's not that they can't do that. to Team Gankfest. Yeah, someone who doesn't play a lot of BGs, I guess. Best issue New Year's. All year 3 sub BGs. Some people are just retarded. DK man, you're having fun, I bet. Although it's kind of like, if something's really strong and you play it over and over and over again, it does get old as well. That's why I make a lot of, like, it's one of the reasons why I try to make everything work, just play all the classes. The game ought to be dominated by DKs. Yeah, and matchmaking. Matchmaking is the biggest issue in BGs. Always has been, always will be, until they fix it. Still going on. Free 2000 trade bars, already got them. It was dominated by DKs, get bounced by 5 werewolves and 10 direwolves every game. Yeah, it's funny how hung up people are on DKs, because werewolf is just as strong, if not better. The other day, I was doing a BG, and I was fighting a strong Alikir DK in 1v4 on werewolf. I don't think I killed him in the 1v1 or XVX at some point, but I don't think I 1vx him, but I could survive him and could fight his teammates and try to kill them. You can't do that on pretty much anything. Like, werewolf is giga strong as well. Templar has to be the worst class in terms of damage. Is it? It might be. It might be. Either Templar or Necro. Templar is more pressure than Necro, it feels like. Necro is more bursty. Templar is pressure and very telegraphed burst. So you know exactly when you have 6 seconds to prepare for Templar burst. 6 fucking seconds to heal up. There's no excuse for dying to a Templar. If you play a decent build that can sustain and whatnot. I don't see why we need to debate that what they need to do. It always feels like we have to figure out how to do their job for them. I'd like to see some competency being brought back in the studio, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's been like this forever. Mixon DK was OP AFK when it deflected all projectiles. Oh, back in days, yeah. But the new wings are also very good, used in a different way. Streak for 0, 100%. Buff it and nerf it like they were doing DK Werewolf. But they haven't nerfed DK on Werewolf. They actually buffed DK in the last update. That buff was not necessary, it just added more health scaling, but I think if DK Heart of Flame didn't get the heal, they would just die to every Werewolf at the moment. Want to play a game with cooldowns, won't play ES, so... yeah, I know, that's fair. But they can add cooldowns to some abilities. They can have lots of, like most things have no cooldown, but they could add cooldown to a thing like Savage Disguise, for example, if it allows them to make it impactful. If it's the only way to make it impactful without making it broken. I would rather have cooldowns and abilities that feel like they do something than abilities that you spam that just do nothing. That's the thing. Hey Ducky, how you doing? Can bomb the same way a DK can. Shock would need maybe some more crit buffs. No, it needs a lot, like most of the Shock abilities are just bad. Most of the abilities in the game are bad, period. 60k HP Werewolf is bad because you have way too much health. If you have 60k, that means that you run Plague Doctor or Warrior Poet, or both, which means that you have no damage sets and you're just a troll tank. The most health you should have on a good werewolf build is 50k-ish. Like 52k, I think, was the max. On a Warden werewolf with minor toughness. If you play Sork werewolf, the most you can have is 48k. If you have anything more than that, that build is gonna have 0 damage. Okay, I have my PV proc, so I need to actually really skip some messages here. Bombing, why are we talking about bombing? Wolf can bomb the same way DK can. No, they play differently, but it's not like DK bombing is that amazing. I think the strongest thing about DK is the burst damage, which is kind of funny because it's supposed to be the dot class, right? Then 1vx while being able to bomb. They will die to a DK, to a good DK, if you are on Vicious Death and whatever the fuck you run with that. Like anything can 1vx if you fight the right opponents. NCKG, how you doing? Top tier so will last that long. Game is deserted really. I hope not. I hope not. I'll always hope for the best for this game. It's kinda same as hoping the best for myself, because I stream this game, right? Other class can do what DK's doing. DK can build for 1vx and still pop Koro, delete like 5 to 10 people. You could probably do that on Arca. On a beam build, you could probably just Tentacle and drop the Dark on ulti into beam. You can probably do it on Nightblade with a Bomber, with Soul Cleaver and Tether. You just have to have the right opponents. Like, bombers are not new. So Shockwave with some kind of pass build, 59k HP and BG last few days. That's probably not anything you have to worry about. Dark Game Hot or something, okay, so nothing you have to worry about. Sorry if toxic. Dark Magic skills are also quite bad. Yeah, most abilities are really bad. Looks of it was demo. Okay, Bass Wolf. Yeah, Bass Wolf, Trash Wolf, as I always say. Kamu's back to streaming. I'm gonna rate Kamu. He's also organizing an RP dueling tournament, which I will take part in. It's in 5 days or something like that. I have a build for that already. Gonna be fun. But enjoy Kamu's stream. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for the socials Vakrel. Salut. And yeah, see you all guys next time. It's gonna be Saturday. I don't think I stream tomorrow. So tomorrow's Friday. I usually take Fridays off. I should have the Templar build done later today in a couple of hours. I'm gonna do my PV proc and then Templar build. But yeah, some big news today. Hopefully, not the news we wanted to hear, but kind of news we expected, right? So this doesn't come as a shock to me. I'm not. I'm actually surprised that I'm not more upset about it. I guess I kind of expected it, all of it. But anyway, until next time, bye.